Welcome back, Nation of Glory. Today, we bring the story of a man who didn't walk into wrestling expecting the world to clap for him. He didn't come with a golden ticket or a name that would open doors. Instead, he came with scars, hunger, chaos in his spirit, and a fire that the world could never put out. This is not just a wrestling tale. This is the life story of Samuel Alton Johnston, better known to the wrestling world as Sami Callihan, a warrior who built his legacy brick by brick, bruise by bruise, match by match, and moment by unforgettable moment. Close your eyes for a second and imagine a small town in Ohio. A quiet place, far away from the bright lights of arenas and the roar of thousands. That's where his story began. A place where dreams aren't handed out, they are fought for. A kid with passion bigger than the world around him. A kid who looked at wrestling not as a hobby, not as a fantasy, but as the very oxygen that kept him alive. Every flip he saw, every suplex, every chant, every roar, they weren't just entertainment to him. They were blueprints. They were calling him. They were telling him, come. Your destiny waits. He was not the tallest, not the biggest, not the smoothest, and not the corporate-friendly polished hero many expected from their superstars. He was rough. He was gritty. He was real. He came from the trenches. And before he ever stepped into a professional ring, he already knew one thing. When the world doubts you, you don't talk back, you fight back. So while others his age followed the path society laid out, school, job, safety, routine, Sami followed pain, sacrifice, and ambition. He went to wrestling shows not as a spectator but as a student. He wrestled in places where the ring ropes were barely safe, where the lights flickered, where crowds were small but passionate, where pay sometimes wasn't money but just respect and the hope that one more match might bring one more opportunity. He entered professional wrestling the hard way. No shortcuts, no privilege, just pure grind. And when he stepped into Combat Zone Wrestling, CZW, the world began to see what path he had chosen. For those who don't know, CZW isn't just wrestling. It's chaos. It's violence. It's a battlefield. It's where warriors go to bleed, to sacrifice, to prove they are willing to go farther than anyone else. A normal person looks at thumbtacks, barbed wire, and steel as danger. Sami looked at them as tools, tools that could carve his name into history. While others chased spotlight, he chased authenticity. He did not want to be pretty, he wanted to be unforgettable. And in CZW, he became just that. A fearless warrior, a madman with purpose, a performer who didn't just take punishment, he welcomed it. Every chair shot was a signature. Every fall through a table was a promise. Every drop of blood was a message. I am here. And I am not leaving. But CZW was not the final chapter, it was the forging fire. From there, his journey continued across independent circuits, each ring, each town, each night pushing him harder. There were nights when the pain was overwhelming, when his body screamed for rest, when crowds were small and life felt like it was trying to break him. But the thing about dreams is that they do not ask how tired you are. They demand everything. And he gave everything. When most wrestlers dream of bright lights, Sami dreamed of moments. He dreamed of connection. He dreamed of telling stories that stayed in hearts forever. And eventually, the world couldn't ignore him. His style was too unique, his passion too fierce, his personality too undeniable. He didn't ask to be seen, he made himself impossible to ignore. He found himself in Major League Wrestling, MLW, changing the atmosphere with every step. He didn't just wrestle, he led, he reinvented, he inspired. His matches weren't just contests, they were wars. His promos weren't just words, they were raw emotion poured straight from his soul. The fans saw it, they felt it, they connected, because Sami Callihan wasn't a manufactured superstar, he was the people's warrior. Flawed, real, human, powerful, and then came total non-stop action wrestling, TNA. A place where he didn't just compete, he exploded. He didn't fit the mold of a traditional hero. He was unpredictable, wild, unfiltered. But sometimes it's the rebels who change the world. And in TNA, Sami became a force that rewrote storylines, defined eras, and carved chapters of absolute intensity. Every feud wasn't just about victory, it was about emotion. Every match wasn't just athleticism, it was heart, rage, pride, and fire. The world watched as he tore through obstacles, built factions, made enemies, made fans, created moments, moments that hurt, moments that shocked, moments that electrified. There were explosions, betrayals, wild brawls, unforgettable rivalries, moments that still live in highlight reels, in fan memories, and in wrestling history. But behind the wild eyes, behind the brutal matches, behind the chaos, there was a soul. A soul who never forgot where he came from, who never forgot the hungry young wrestler in small gyms before dawn, who never forgot why he chose this path. Because for Sami, wrestling wasn't a job, it was life. And most people don't realize this, being a warrior takes more than muscles. It takes sacrifice. It takes missed holidays, bruised bones, lonely nights, moments when the world moves on but you still stand there fighting shadows. Wrestling tests your spirit as much as your body. But Sami Callihan never broke. He bent reality instead. There came a moment in life when the ring that once felt infinite started to feel different. Not smaller, but quieter. When your body whispers things your heart doesn't want to hear. When legacy becomes more important than spotlight. When you realize life gives every warrior two choices: fade slowly or exit proudly. And Sami chose pride. He walked away not because he lost fire, but because he honored his flame. He walked away as a pioneer, a leader, a battler whose name echoes in independent arenas and major promotions alike. Retirement wasn't defeat, it was evolution. Because legends don't retire, they transition. They shape the future. And Sami Callihan isn't just a wrestler now, he is a mentor, a promoter, a creator. Someone building platforms so the next generation can rise without having to suffer the same battles alone. He gave his body to wrestling. Now he gives his wisdom. His legacy is not shiny belts or perfect records. It is loyalty, passion, authenticity, and rebellion. It is the message to every overlooked, underestimated, unpolished dreamer who ever felt like they didn't fit the mold. His career screams one truth louder than any crowd ever could: you don't need to be accepted to become undeniable. Be loud, be different, be passionate, be real. The world may not open doors for you, but you can break them down. That is Sami Callihan, not a prince of wrestling, but a king of grit. Not the image the industry expected, but the heart the industry needed. Not a fairy tale hero, but a real one, the kind who bleeds, sweats, breaks, heals, rises, and gives back. And now, as fans, we stand here not mourning his retirement, but celebrating his revolution. We honor the wars he fought. We salute the chaos he embraced. We acknowledge the foundation he helped build. And we carry his spirit forward, that fearless, relentless, unapologetic fight. Because legends are not remembered for perfection. They're remembered for impact. So when you think of Sami Callihan, don't just remember the brutal matches, the shocking moments, the madness. Remember the journey, the kid from Ohio, the independent warrior, the CZW fighter, the MLW creator, the TNA storm, the promoter, the mentor, the soul who never quit on himself. He didn't just wrestle, he lived wrestling. And long after the final bell, his energy remains. And to you listening right now, maybe you are fighting your own battles. Maybe you feel overlooked. Maybe your journey feels slow. Maybe you feel like the world doesn't see your worth. Let Sami's story remind you of this: the world doesn't define you. You define you. Dreams aren't rewarded to the comfortable. They are earned by the relentless. And every struggle you face is simply sharpening you for the moment you rise. Thank you for watching, Nation of Glory. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you of the fighter inside your heart, then join our family. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and share this video so more dreamers, fighters, warriors, and believers can find strength through stories like this. Together, we rise, we honor the legends, and we keep the glory alive. Until next time, stay strong, stay proud, and always fight with heart. Thank you, Nation of Glory. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. We will see you again in the next story of passion, power, and destiny.